Talk about the importance of KUSF and why I love this radio station so much. And in order to really address this properly, I think I have to go back over 30 years ago when I was a student growing up in Northeast Ohio, attending the University of Akron, and the radio station that changed my life was WKSU. And the students had only a block of time at that point. They started broadcasting at like 10 o'clock at night and finished up at 6 a.m. And my brother and I used to stay awake for as many nights as we possibly could because the music that these students were playing was just so mind-blowing to us. And we just had to keep listening. And you know, at the time, you know, Northeast Ohio had a lot happening in terms of the local music scene, and certainly WKSU was one of the radio stations responsible for making that music scene that much more viable, promoting local bands, promoting venues, and there was certainly a connectedness between the station and the venues, and you listened to this one station to find out what was going on, whether it was Akron or Kent or Cleveland or Youngstown. They had their finger on the pulse. And so that being said, you know, I'm now 49, and to me, you know, community radio is every bit as important in my life. I've never stopped listening, thanks to WKSU, and I think that you know, once you lose a resource like a KUSF, it's impossible to replace, and that's eventually what happened to WKSU. And ironically, it was a classical station that took over WKSU. And the students were never permitted a block of time again, and it was a tremendous loss for us as individuals, and again for a community. I think that community radio or college radio, however you choose to term it, independent radio defined cities and sounds and distinguished cities from one another. And again, once you lose that, it all just becomes one big homogeneous piece of dreck. I don't know any other way of putting it. I mean, we've lost our airwaves, and we can't really afford to lose anymore. Again, KUSF has basically, it's a link between the radio station, the local music scene, and so much more than that. Public affairs, representing communities in this very, very diverse city that we live in. And the same held true for, again, all of these radio stations that I've listened to over the years, regardless of whether it was in Ohio or when I was living in Minnesota and Minneapolis, and now that I live in San Francisco. Again, we have to do everything that we can to maintain these stations. It represents a free voice, and it keeps, you know, it keeps the scene legitimate in my mind. And thanks for asking me to share.